Before the video starts, I just want to say I have an Instagram that you can follow. I do post my cat on there, some memes, and some other stuff too, so if you're interested in that kind of shit, go follow me. Alright, thanks. I want to say thank you to my new patrons, Spurgalicious Asshat and Extreme Gamer 267. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the world of Tales from the Trip.
Let this be a reminder, we all make mistakes, but some mistakes can really hurt or even kill you. I had some friends over the other night for a 2CT2 experiment. The plan was for 4 friends and myself. When they showed up, however, they brought another friend of ours who was also interested in taking part. I had previously measured out 5 doses at 25 milligrams each for us to take. But when our other friend showed up, I gave all of the pre-measured pills to them and went to measure out another for myself. I had consumed 3 or 4 drinks at that point to soften the come-up anxiety and to entertain myself before everyone got to my apartment. This is where I stress sobriety and precise and important activities like measuring out potent drugs. I reached up over the cabinet ledge where I keep my research chemicals and felt for the proper size jar. I found it and glanced at it and proceeded to measure out 25 milligrams of 2CT2 for myself. About 30 minutes after we all dosed, I started to get sweaty palms and I started feeling the definite bubbling presence of a swelling trip goblin climbing the biological staircase to my head. I thought, nah, couldn't be. 2CT has always taken about 2 hours to present itself to us. It must be my imagination, it's only anticipation. But no, it was so unmistakable and unexpected that I had to go to my room and lie down for a bit to figure out what was wrong with me and why I was reacting like this. I made a quiet exit, and as I lied down, it only got more intense. The trip hadn't started in anyone else yet, only me. At this point, I began to feel some anxiety. It never got out of my control, but this situation just didn't make any sense. It was then that I had a flash of realization. I got up and walked to the area where I kept all of my chemicals and took them all down. The walking part was a little hard as the world was on an angle. I looked at them all, and then I knew I was right. I had measured out 25 milligrams of 4-HO-DIPT for myself instead of 2CT2. This explained everything. The jars were similar sizes and the same color with labels from the same laboratory. I had made the critical error, the "no, I'd never make such a dumb mistake." I thought I had cooked up a 2CT2 burger with a slice of righteousness on an inner exploration seed bun. But instead, I had made myself a steamed HO-DIPT platter, garnished in error and sauteed in a wrong sauce. In this particular scenario, the consequences were benign. My anxiety subsided when I realized what I had done, but it was replaced by an embarrassment and a disappointment in myself that I'd fallen prey to such a careless error. I was ashamed and in a tripping head with which to reflect and obsess on it for an hour or 2. Yes, no harm was done here, but what if it was a different bottle that I had retrieved? What if it was 5-MeO-AMT? I don't have this chemical, but it illustrates the concept well. What if it was 2CE or even 4-MeO-MIPT? I could easily be in the hospital or even dead. It's that easy to make a mistake with something so potent. I always double and triple check my measurements, but what good is that if I'm measuring the wrong substance? Double check the labels and don't take anything for granted or with a grain of salt in this respect. I'm grateful that I didn't send any of my friends or myself to the hospital that night. I'm just writing this to raise awareness that this could possibly happen to someone else too. Pay attention, stay sober while measuring, and double check all variables in the process. That is my advice for anyone who chooses to use these substances as a playground or a classroom, as I do. Be careful. I know I will be more so in the future. Peace, happiness, and safety to you all. I don't drink often, so 4 deuces is a lot of beer and gets me really drunk. I'm 18 years old and 6'4", but before I start the report, I need to mention the events previous to the trip. I take a multivitamin every day, along with a few other supplements, ginkgo biloba, St. John's wort, and kava kava. I recently ran out of 5-HTP and had not been taking that. I had worked all morning. Then when I got out of work, I relaxed with some beer. I drank a good amount and was quite drunk. At this point, I always stopped drinking, but I then decided I'd try blowing a tiny dose, 5 milligrams, of 4-HO-DIPT. After I blew the chemical, nothing happened. 5 minutes later though, it hits me like a train. Tryptamines and alcohol don't combine. I remembered this too late. I was in an alcoholic haze when I decided to take the small dose, and it didn't occur to me. I should have been more careful. I could have wound up dead. So the 4-HO hits me. I'm seeing the rainbows and color patterns everywhere, like it always causes. Except the buzz is just so strong. I was getting cold chills all over my body, like I was being submerged in ice or hot lava from the top down. I started to have a hard time breathing. I was gasping for air. I decided it would be best if I went down the street to my friend's house. This is about 20 minutes after taking it. We smoked a little bowl, and this calmed me down, but I was obviously under control of the powerful drug. I can't say I really remember too much of what happened, but it did get hard to breathe. I have never literally passed out before, but I actually did about an hour after doing the 4-HO-DIPT. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give it a like and comment down below your experience with 4-HO-DIPT or any substance for that matter. I'd love to hear your experiences. Also subscribe if you want to hear more of this content, because I upload frequently. You don't want to miss any of this shit, trust me. Alright, let's move on to the next story. While I have taken 4-HO-DIPT myself, I'm writing this to submit the experience of a friend. I was present for her experience. Having recently purchased a number of research chemicals, several of our peer group had taken 4-HO-DIPT before and had an interesting experience with 24 to 30 milligram doses. All those who tried the substance reported significant visuals and a strong similarity to psilocybin. All of our group that had tried it also reported a significant tension in their muscles, resulting in a constant clenching throughout the body. While this feeling was disconcerting at first, it became more pleasant after some experience. The evening began smoothly enough. Several of our group took a dose of 24 milligrams of the substance. I myself had chosen to stay sober for the evening, which turned out to be a blessing. About 30 minutes after taking the dose, one of our group, we'll call her Jane, began feeling violently ill. After emptying her stomach, Jane began to shake violently and lost consciousness. For nearly a half an hour, Jane's limbs would shake spasmodically, and she would slip in and out of consciousness for very short periods of time, at which point her breathing would become almost undetectable. Upon regaining consciousness, Jane was still largely unable to move, speak rationally, or even remember the names of people in the room with her. After a half an hour, at the point of heading to an emergency room, Jane regained and was able to maintain consciousness. Jane began speaking somewhat more coherently, though she was still relatively unable to move. Jane herself explained that while she felt the need to talk and to move, she was unable to control her body. As the evening progressed, Jane's limbs continued to shake, often painfully, though spasms lessened with time. Throughout the experience, Jane had difficulty remaining calm and experienced strong open-eye visuals. And later in the evening, she had difficulty staying conscious due to exhaustion. Effects finally subsided nearly 7 hours after ingestion, and Jane was able to think, move, and speak normally. While many of our peer group have taken and enjoyed 4-HO-DIPT, we have disposed of the remaining quantity of the chemical for fear of similar results in the future. If you intend on trying this substance, I highly recommend starting with very light doses and working your way up, as this chemical is very subjective and can react very, very strongly in certain individuals.